Moon Knight issue 25, the enormous 25th issue if you're going by the cover. It's weird that it happened. I know that's like a weird thing to say, but 25 issues of a Moon Knight book and it's being celebrated with like an oversized issue, that's a really cool feeling. I mean, we may never have this happen again. It's so weird to think that this era of Moon Knight is kind of reaching its climactic ending because it's been so monumental and I think very impactful for the character. But look, 2 years on the book is great. By the time it wraps up, it probably sounds like Jed MacKay will be doing like 3 years on the book, so I can't be mad at him. It's impressive, but we may never be eating this good again, if that makes sense. This book launches into a spin-off book, which is kind of like a prequel, introducing a character that existed in the MCU, and then there's going to be like a What If Moon Knight comic book. It's weird, but I just want to talk about Moon Knight some more, because we're eating good. If you are a Moon Knight fan, you are eating well these past couple of days. And I think next week, City of the Dead starts too, so that's just great. It's just great. Issue 24. We learned that perhaps the villain that has been pulling the strings this whole time is Black Spectre. Question issue 25 puts forward is, which one? Because there's been a few Black Spectres. So we open up this book with a prologue, and it's kind of just like a dark, different version of the opening of issue 1. So issue 1 of Moon Knight opens up with a person coming to the Midnight Mission seeking the help of Mr. Knight. This time, it's a lowly criminal looking to get some help doing something. And what do we see here? Welcome to the Chapel Perilous. I am the Black Spectre. What do you ask of me? Just a dark, twisted, messed up version of the Midnight Mission. And in the back, we see, instead of like the statue of Khonshu, it's like the classic Black Spectre costume. And this new one looks like a menace. It's terrifying, and I dig it. What a cool thing. And you see that this guy's like, it's my ex-wife. She's trying to take the kids in the house, and I kind of want her to disappear. He's like, yeah, so okay, consider it done. I'll do this favor for you, but then you have to do a favor for me. Okay? Cool. So the Black Spectre's terrible. We know that. We don't reveal which Black Spectre this is at this moment, which is very interesting. We then, interestingly, cut to the graveyard of Carson Knowles, the original Black Spectre, and we see that Greer and Mark are looking over it like, what do you think? Is he alive? Is he dead? Greer's kind of like, well, you're the expert in coming back from the dead. You tell me what you think. Awesome. That's just funny. Oh, it's great. Like, I'm just like, okay, you open up this book parodying the first issue, then they're going to like stand over the grave of Carson Knowles, who is, in my opinion, the best villain of Moon Knight. I think Carson Knowles best represents Moon Knight's psyche, and he should be a formidable being. I have a theory on who I think this villain is, but we'll get back to that later. So we cut to the Meridian, which is the prison, and we see that Zodiac is here to talk to Steven, because Steven's like, look, I need to talk to you about something, and I got voices in my head telling me to kill you, but I don't want to do that, and look, we can't talk to your therapist because Plesko's been killed, and I just kind of want to, I was like, is that you? Did you kill him? He's like, you think I killed him? It's like, Mark thinks you killed him. I don't, it's kind of your style, but it's also like not your style, so do you want to tell me like, what's going on here? He's like, okay, come on. You think that lazily of me, that I'm going to be that person? Like, if I wanted to do something to you, it'd be more personal than Plesko. Like, come on. He's just some guy. What is this really about? What are you really doing here? And that's when Steven just goes, okay, so are you the Black Spectre? He's like, am I? No, I'm not the Black Spectre. You think I'm that much of a loser? Like, when I come after you, I sign my name in blood because I am your villain. That's me. Not the Black Spectre, you freak. No, it's me. You'd think I'd be the Black Spectre and I'm using this prestige as just something? No, like, shut up. Do you think I'm jealous of him? It's Black Spectre. You don't even know which one there is. There's like a million Black Spectres, but there's only one Zodiac, and I am no Black Spectre. So then we cut to part 1 of this book. It's called Haunted, and we are at the Midnight Mission, and we see that it's 8-Ball coming to the Midnight Mission seeking help. 8-Ball, a kind of supporting character in this book. He's appeared in a few issues, but he's like, look, I don't know, like, I feel like I shouldn't be here, but I'm just kind of scared of him, and I kind of like want your help. Like, he said, like, I'd take part in the killing of Moon Knight, and I'm kind of terrified of that notion, and I don't really want to kill you, so, like, Black Spectre asked me to work with him, and it sucks, and I'm coming to you, Mr. Knight, because I want you to kill him. It's like, oh, so you came to me after Black Spectre said you can help him kill me? He's like, yeah. I just kind of love this line. I'm going to kill the Black Spectre for you. Well, for you and me. You know that this will be the third Black Spectre I've put down. Never gets old. Awesome. So then we cut to later, and 8-Ball and Moon Knight are just headed on a cheap little boat, just headed to a graveyard, which is in Hart Island, home to New York City's 1.5 million nameless dead. Ooh, which is kind of interesting. It does bring up like a theme that I'm thinking of, like the dead. So the resurrection of Moon Knight, of course, and Badir, of course, being like the other part of that. Should I just say that I think the villain is his brother? Is that too on the nose? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it might be Randall. I'm also thinking it just might be Carson because of the reincarnation thing. But 8-Ball's kind of like, don't you have like a moon boat or something? He's like, no, this belongs to like a Magiadon. Like I have all this stuff. Like, I'm not as like well off as I used to. I used to have all that stuff, but I just I don't have the resources for that anymore. So now I kind of live in a haunted house, and I just kind of do things for minimal effort, and I just steal things when I need them. He's like, didn't you have like a pilot? He's like, yeah, I did, but not anymore. You looking for a job? He's like, yeah, would that be so crazy? Is 8-Ball seeking work with Moon Knight? He's like, you cannot be serious that you were like a pilot. Like, you know how to pilot a helicopter. He's like, yeah, of course I do. I'm a jet propulsion engineer. I designed and built a hoverboard in the shape of an 8-Ball. Like, come on. What are you doing with a pool ball on your head? It's like, I don't know. Things just went bad. I started to gamble. Everything sucks. I can't, like, Jed, I don't know why you have to feel the need to do this, man, but just like the idea that sometimes it's just easier to be the guy everyone thinks you are. For 8-Ball, like, yeah, I'm kind of a sad sack and I'll never be like the best one. I'm kind of a loser, but I play that right and I got this far. Like, I'm still kicking. And for some reason, Mark's like, I understand completely that entire idea. So they walk to like the shoreline, and suddenly some lights turn on. It's like, oh, you've arrived, you stupid person. And with a traitor nonetheless, oh, he's gonna die. And then you just see 8-Ball runs away, like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm out of here. He's like, Black Spectre. And then it's like, yes, Black Spectre, but who is it? And he's like, yes, you work alone, but then again, you've always been a cowboy, haven't you? And then we cut to part 2, the last ride of the Karnak Cowboys, which is it takes place in Alexandria, the Arab Republic of Egypt, 12 years ago. So, sliding timelines, before Mark met Marlene, we meet the Karnak Cowboys, who are just kind of like mercenaries, just guns for hire that operate out of Egypt, and they are contracted by S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it's S.H.I.E.L.D. that contracts them. Yes, and they are just kind of like, well, if we're going to do this mission, we need locals to do it. So who's our team? We have Mark Spector, who is just crazy and silly boy. We have Jean-Paul Duchamp. We have Frenchie, of course. Robert Plesko, a character who's kind of popping up more and more in this book. But hey, who's the last member of the Karnak Cowboys? Layla El-Foyle. That's right, folks. We're bringing her in. We are bringing her in. The character that was the best part of the TV series is coming to the books. And in this timeline of 12 years ago, her and Mark are kissing, and it's a good thing. Because I guess that kind of like works around the thing where we don't have to like, do the Marlene is actually the Layla character. We can mix it about. That's fine. Cool. So they're here to just like steal some stuff from like a Cobra agent. He's like gone rogue, and he has some deadly stuff, deadly MacGuffin that can do wrong and hurt people, and they're going to contract these guys to do it the way they do in Egypt. And you just see, you got some deadly people with a bunch of guns ready to fuck shit up, and that's what they do. They go in and they just attack, and they murder people. They murder these guys to get at the Cobra agent, and they eventually get to him, and they tag him down, and it's pretty fun and scary. It's kind of impressive. Easy money. That's what we think. We'll cut back to that later, because now we have to go back to the Meridian, where we see that Zodiac wants to talk to Ryan Trent, who is the second Black Spectre, who is that the one from the run before Jeff Lemire, where it's like this is like a cop who turned out just to be a prick? I think it is. So Zodiac goes to talk to him. He's like, okay, so tell me, are you like the Black Spectre that's trying to be like Moon Knight's villain? Like, I know you're like a piece of shit cop and you're not that tough or anything, but are you planning like this entire bullshit? Because, like, that's stupid. I'm his villain. He's like, you want the Black Spectre? He wants you too. Make sure you're wearing these tonight. And you see that Ryan Trent has already been contacted by this other Black Spectre. Please be Carson. Like, that would be so cool if Carson finally came back. Because he died circa the late 2000s, I think. Because that was towards the end. Yeah, that was that era, right? It was before Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Because that's like the redemption. So it was the run before that one. And that book came out in like 2010, 2011. That'd be so cool. Cut back to the present where it's the Midnight Gunfight, which is part 3. And you see that this is the thing that's been going on. So this is like a reference going back to the events of the Karnak Cowboys, where we see that the Black Spectre, who is controlling or just like manipulating all the events, is using like the Cobra Project mind control device. And that's what was given to Sarnak, who was like a character appearing in the past ones. And that's what's going on here. It's like, so it's not Ryan Trent. I can figure that out. He's not that smart. So you're somebody else doing stuff. And that's when Moon Knight is attacked by a bunch of drones from Stuart Clark, a villain whose face he cut up. And now Moon Knight's just fighting a couple of drones that are shooting lasers at him. And I love it. I love the stupid mask and like VR set that Stuart's wearing. Just like, I'm a monster, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to hurt you. It's like, oh, shut up, you're not going to do anything. It's pretty easy to defeat like a drone guy because you're not that good at close combat. And it's kind of cool that Moon Knight just like picks up a gun. It's like, okay, I may not be a gun guy, but I'm not afraid to use it. Which, oh, that's so great. Look, this is a lot of pages, so I'm kind of breezing through it more than I normally would in this story, but we're doing a lot here. And then we're cutting back to the Karnak Cowboys, where they think they're clear of the mission. They got the device. They're headed out. But uh-oh, they're being tracked by somebody. And they're going to talk to their client, which is S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like, well, get them out of there. We don't want to do that. To get them off the road, so they figure out that they're gone. And that's when Plesko says, you know who could be following us is Hydra. He's like, oh, don't say Hydra. Don't say Hydra. Say the name of the devil and it'll appear. And then a Hydra ship is following them. I'm like, that's kind of fun. It establishes Mark as like a character in like the larger mythos of the Marvel universe, so it does make it realistic that those events would happen simultaneously, which is kind of cool. So Moon Knight shoots down all the drones. This guy's not winning, and then suddenly he's attacked again by, who is this guy? It's Manslaughter Mansdale. Great. And another like old school villain is coming in to beat the crap out of Moon Knight. It ain't gonna work because then Man Mountain Marco shows up because Black Spectre promised both those guys the ability to beat Moon Knight up first before anything happened. So now we just get a couple of pages where Moon Knight is beating up some guys you barely remember. And he's bleeding and he's injured and it's great. And that's when Man Mountain Marco pulls out a chainsaw to try to chainsaw him. And it literally like goes into Mark's chest, but it doesn't cut him because of course he's wearing armor. And I'm like, yes, that's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. Like, this is it. Then he chainsaws the guy, and you're like, he'll live. Like, he'll live. Marsdale might live. Maybe you will too. But back in the Meridian, I made a promise to you, Marco. Try to remember it. Because that's, Marco was a character in, like, the Devil's Reign tie-in, which now I'm kind of regretting not covering that on the channel, because that's the one I skipped, because I'm like, I don't need to talk about Devil's Reign. But, hey, cool. What a beautiful page of Moon Knight threatening a guy. We have been doing a lot of stuff with the colors lately because we know Mark's in charge. There's a lot more blue, but this page is just full-on blue, and it's full-on spectacular, and it's terrifying, and I love every second of it. Let's come back to the Karnak Cowboys, where we see Rutherford Winter is here. That's right, folks. Yeah, another character that Jed MacKay wants to play with, so he's a Hydra agent at the moment. He's like, yeah, we're ready. Let's fight these sons of bitches. So Layla and Mark have like a goodbye kiss because Mark's going to go shoot a couple of people, and that's what he does. He kills some Hydra agents, and things are getting out of hand. He's cutting like the wires that are connecting the Hydra agents to the top of like their vehicle, and he's getting deadly and terrifying. We cut back to a Mark Spector who is injured. He is hurt. He's just like walking through these halls trying to figure out what's going on. Who is any of this? And this is where it's like, yeah, this Black Spectre has been the villain upon villains of everything. Like, he killed the Shadow Cabinet because I want to watch you die. I've infiltrated all this stuff. It would have been easier because I had Sarnak working for me. And then you just randomly stumbled upon Commodore Planet, and he was doing one thing too. But he's also a guy from your past, so I could kind of make it look like I was connecting him to you too. All these characters from our Danse Macabre, you know? Like, we're doing this old school thing. And that's what we see, like, oh, there's one more character appearing from your past that you might want to remember. He's like, oh no. And then suddenly these like detonators on a wall blow up, and we see emerging from the tombs. Oh my God. Like, wow. Beautiful. It's Waxman. Do you remember in issue 10, I think it was, which is like, that's like a year ago now. Oh my goodness. We put him in like a tomb at the bottom of like a concrete floor. Well, he's free now and he's attacking Mark. And it's just like, oh yes, look at this. It looks so great seeing like this huge husk, kind of like the dust cloud in like the Mummy franchise just hovering over him, swarming him, sweeping him up. And you see like the cloak is just like drenched over his body, ripping apart. And you think he's going to die. He's going to be like, become consumed. I love it. And you see, like, yeah, you buried Waxman alive, a demon of your own making. And what is the purpose of a demon but to punish us for our sins? Then we cut back to the Karnak Cowboys, where Mark's fighting, like, the last of the Hydra soldier, but, like, the Hydra soldier slips in and starts attacking them inside of the vehicle, and they get a hold of, like, the ex-Cobra agent, and they start flying away with him. And you see Mark's trying to like cut down their thing, and he like kind of like kills the like, I think he kills. It looks like he kills the Cobra guy. So Hydra can't do anything with him, which also screws him over with everything happening with S.H.I.E.L.D., which, okay, cool. And then like it kind of ends where you see like Layla's like reaching out the side of the car, or is she in the car? It's kind of hard to say. Where is she at that point? Because when we last saw her, she was in the vehicle, and we don't really see like her get out of it. But Mark looks like he's on like the back of it, so maybe like split in two, and they're reaching out to kind of like grab each other. But like the way that this part of the story ends with the two of them looking at each other with like the wide eyes, like, oh shit, something just happened. It feels like one of them thinks the other's dead, and they're not going to see each other after this, which may be the case. Probably is the case. So that's the last of the Karnak Cowboys. They're not going to ride again. And you just see like the hands of Moon Knight reaching out of Waxman as it's like consuming him. And you see like the eyeballs swarming around him. And then suddenly there's like a big kablam and something breaks apart Waxman. And you see it's 8-Ball with a pool stick. He's got like a stick and he just like bursts apart Waxman. He's like, I'm sorry. I couldn't. Are you okay? Like, are you okay? Like, this is crazy. He'll probably come back together. We should get back on the boat because this is terrifying. And we see that, you know, Black Spectre's not actually in this location. So Jed's used this trick a few times in the run where we just have, like, Moon Knight go to a location and the villain's not there. I guess it's fun. It would be nice to see, like, Mark just look in the eyes of the Black Spectre, but it's okay. And they start walking away. It's like, I didn't want to hurt him, but, like, I had to. And he's just kind of, like, calling out Black Spectre's voice, like, you're a dead man, 8-Ball. You're dead. I'm going to kill you for this. And you see, like, why'd you come back for me? He's like, well, I didn't want to be the guy everybody thought I was anymore. Which is kind of like, oh, yeah, that's a nice little arc for 8-Ball. He's going to start helping out in the team. I love it. That's really fun. And that's kind of like where the main crux of the book ends, because after that we cut to the epilogue, which sees Black Spectre looking in front of a monitor, and it's like, you got your friend in position for this new thing? I can't believe we were foiled by 8-Ball. It's like, yep, our new guy's in there. So we cut back to the Meridian, and there's like a shift change in progress, and we see that the person who is changing the shift to become the person watching over the monitors is the guy from the beginning of the book who was looking for help from the Black Spectre to get rid of his ex-wife. He is now sitting in front of some monitors, and he like uploads like an anti-air defense and something. He plugs in a chip. The system is like a PA system that's loaded up, and he plays like a Sarnak thing, and he puts in like his ear chips, which is like the same thing that were given to Zodiac and Ryan Trent earlier in the book. And suddenly there is like a huge fight going out, and everybody starts breaking into a ball, and there's guns firing and people are being killed, but Zodiac's okay, Black Spectre's okay, the people that were given the earphones are okay. And it's just like, okay, cool. So whoever you think Black Spectre could be, it's not them, because all the possible suspects are already in the Meridian. So what are we going to do? There's going to be a helicopter that's going to come landing down. They're going to shoot some of the cops away. And you see Zodiac like, okay, this is good. What do you want, Black Spectre? What is this, okay? You want to screw me over because I'm his arch enemy? Like, what do you think you're doing? You know, it's crazy. And then we just see, like, from his cell, Zodiac looks over and he sees, like, well, you speak the name of the devil and he shall appear. And there is Black Spectre draped in a disgusting cloth cloak. There's Trent Ryan, there's Sarnak, Black Spectre soldiers, and they're looking to give Zodiac his suit back, ready to fight in the next battle. And that is where the book ends. And I'm like, oh man, you're not giving me much to go off of. I'm starting to think now, like, my theory that it's Mark's brother Randall. I mean, it does kind of have like his aesthetic with like the cloth, so it could be like a combination. But it does have like the disgusting figure of like something a Carson Knowles could be digging up. We also don't see like his grave like desecrated, so maybe it's not Carson. Either way, this book is a really fun way to kind of like celebrate a 25th issue of this character. We have all the supporting villains that we've seen before trying to beat him up. Capuccio's at the top of his game yet again with this book. 8-Ball gets some fun in here. It's just a simple story that introduces the world to Layla El Foyle, and she's the best, and I love her, and it's going to be great to see Scarlet Scarab return soon. Very soon, and that's really exciting to me. Maybe I'm the only one. I'm not, though, because she's just great, and I love it, and even May Kalamawi was excited to see that she's going to be in the comic books. Like, it's great, okay? We're doing something, and it's really exciting, and I just, like, this is... I'm sure, okay, let me slow down. This is like the type of run that like a Daredevil would get, you know, like a Punisher would get, like not a Moon Knight. Like, it's so well crafted. It's building off of itself in a beautiful way. Well, I don't think we're ever going to get this again. And that's like a really sad thought to have, but I just can't imagine we're going to do this for Moon Knight again. It's hard to picture that world happening, but I recommend picking this book up. 70 pages, a Moon Knight action, characters you know, characters you love. It's silly, it's goofy, it's Moon Knight. It's unapologetically Mark Spector being a weirdo. And that's really cool to say. So, Moon Knight, issue 25, I am going to give a 10 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.